Only a few times a decade, Formula One serves us a race like no other. 13 pile-ups, explosive crashes, and perhaps the most shocking of all, a race where only 3 drivers finished the race. And while the 1996 Monaco Grand Prix would see only 3 cars finish the race, it would also crown a winner that nobody would see coming. Someone who wasn't even expected to finish in the points. From death-defying speed to gut-wrenching crashes, this is the type of race we will never ever see again. That is what made it thrilling, that's what made it special, and that's exactly why we're talking about it today.
Monaco represents all the things that F1 is famous for. It is a bit of an anachronism from what we might require for safety. There is nowhere to go if you have a problem, but we accept that. I don't think you will find a driver out there who is not looking forward to facing the challenges.
Monaco for any driver is the ultimate challenge. It is different, it is special, it is the crown jewel of Formula One. Ask any driver what their dream is, and it will almost certainly be to be crowned king on the streets of Monte Carlo. The 1996 iteration of this legendary Grand Prix, though, would serve up a story that will never, ever be seen again. Whilst Monaco heats up extremely quickly off the track, the real intensity kicked in during Saturday's qualifying, where Michael Schumacher claimed pole position with a remarkable lap. Ferrari might have provided all the Monaco-specific tweaks, but this was more than that. It was a true showcase of arguably the greatest of all time. Despite not being the most popular figure in the F1 paddock, the lap he delivered demanded respect from the racing world. Half a second faster than Damon Hill's best was a tribute to the legendary Ayrton Senna's qualifying laps from the late 1980s. He was in utter, mesmerizing control. The Benetton duo, Jean Alesi and Gerhard Berger, poised themselves in the second row. David Coulthard and Ruben Barrichello follow closely behind, and for most of these cars, just where they started would be the difference between them surviving the race and bowing out. Schumacher's pole position, however, was not without controversy. A moment of acknowledgement to the crowd had led to a hot lap disruption for Berger, and let's just say he had made his displeasure well known. The German, having recently switched to Ferrari after a double championship stint with Benetton, carried the weight of expectations from the passionate tifosi, and the scarlet-clad fans flooded the streets for Schumacher's debut race at Monaco with Ferrari, hoping to witness a victory that had eluded the team since Gilles Villeneuve's triumph 15 years prior. Schumacher's quest for glory, however, faced challenges from a field of formidable competitors. And so, the stage was set for the unpredictable danger of Monte Carlo to give us a race for the ages. After a relatively calm Saturday, Sunday morning brought with it a great ill fortune. There was something ominous in the air. The skies turned dark, and a heavy downpour soaked the streets of Monaco. The rain paused briefly during the warm-up session, where Olivier Panis unexpectedly set the fastest time. Surely that meant nothing, right? As the rain subsided and the track began to dry, teams faced strategic dilemmas. Should they opt for wet or dry tyres? What setup adjustments were necessary? Could some cars manage without a fuel stop due to reduced consumption in wet conditions? Why haven't you subscribed yet? Despite the uncertain conditions, most drivers opted for wet tyres on the grid. As the red lights counted down to the race start, the world held its breath. Schumacher, eager for a strong start, faced an early challenge. Wheel spin gripped his car, leaving him vulnerable to Damon Hill's swift maneuver around the outside of Saint-Devoux. Hill seized the lead, setting the stage for an unexpected turn of events. The start erupted with chaos immediately at Saint-Devoux, when the Minardis of Giancarlo Fisichella and Pedro Lamy collided. Meanwhile, at the same corner, Jos Verstappen met the unforgiving wall, ending his race in an instant. The Monaco streets had barely witnessed a full lap when the day's first shock unfolded. Cameras captured the iconic image of cars navigating the hairpin, but the commentator, Murray Walker, normally full of enthusiasm, grew even more animated because the focus of the broadcast had suddenly shifted to a scarlet-red Ferrari limping down the escape road at Portier, its front end completely mangled. To everyone's disbelief, it was the defending champion, Michael Schumacher. Murray Walker just as astonished as everyone watching.
And that's Schumacher! Michael Schumacher is out of the Monaco Grand Prix!
The man who had seemed on his A-game all weekend had displayed a chink in his armour. A bout of oversteer at Mirabeau had sent the German sliding into the wet curbing and crashing into the wall. 6 drivers, including Schumacher, were out before completing a single racing lap in Monaco. As the remaining drivers crossed the finish line, a momentary calm settled over the field. Yet, the illusion of order was shattered as drama drama struck again. Ukyo Katayama's Tyrrell pulled to the side at turn 14, marking the first official retirement due to a mechanical issue, a damaged throttle ending the young Japanese driver's day. The start of lap 3 saw Murray Walker listing the growing number of retirements, only to be interrupted by another incident. Riccardo Rossi, in the other footwork, replicated Barrichello's lap 1 move, ending in a collision with the wall and an early exit. Brief respite came as drivers completed lap 4 without further crashes, but hope was short-lived. Pedro Diniz, facing a transmission issue, pulled off the track, becoming the 9th driver to retire after just 5 laps. Just 4 laps later, the strategic chess game seemed poised to unfold in the midst of this chaotic race. However, the unfolding drama took another unexpected turn when Gerhard Berger, driving for Benetton, made a pit stop.
Berger's been losing pace actually compared to Alesi. He's been dropping back by a second, 2 seconds a lap from Alesi over the past 4 laps. So Berger clearly has a problem.
Fueling up, but with no tyre change, it became evident that this wasn't a tactical move, but a mechanical hiccup. Later revealed as a broken gearbox sensor, Berger became the 10th casualty, forced out of the Grand Prix. With 11 cars remaining, battles erupted throughout the tight and twisty Monaco streets, and on lap 10, Heinz-Harald Frentzen and Eddie Irvine tangled as they engaged in a fierce duel for 4th place. As they hurtled towards turn 1, which had already claimed 3 victims, their contact was all but inevitable.
Mansell could do, and Senna went, oh, and does, very tight indeed. I fear that Frentzen's broken, he has indeed.
Surprisingly, Irvine emerged unscathed, but Frentzen's front wing suffered considerable damage, forcing him to limp to the pits and plummet straight to the end of the pack. In the meantime, Damon Hill was calmly leading the GP from the very beginning, which is how most Monaco Grand Prix are nowadays. Remember 2023 with Max Verstappen? I actually almost missed that race. You know why? Imagine this. I just arrived in my hotel in Barcelona, as I was going to attend the Spanish GP the week after, and with a few minutes to go, I turned on the TV to watch the race, but much to my surprise, literally no channel was hosting it. Now, at home, I always watch F1 on my Sky Sports app, but guess what? Apparently, it didn't like me being in Spain all too much, because I got this message. Now, I legitimately only had a few minutes left until the lights went out, so I quickly googled how I could get around this, and one name kept popping up everywhere: Surfshark. Had never heard of it before, but in the immense stress, I quickly downloaded the app, turned on the VPN, and was just in time to hear David Croft's legendary words.
And it's lights out and away we go!
Now, after a rather entertaining race, for Monaco that is, I did some digging on Surfshark and realised how incredibly unsafe my internet browsing had been until now, especially with sketchy hotel Wi-Fis. Whilst with Surfshark, you're completely safe and anonymous on the internet. So last week when Surfshark reached out to sponsor an episode, it was a no-brainer. And just wait until you hear the deal. I got the best deal possible for you guys. 80% off! Yes, you heard me right. 80% off and an additional 3 months completely for free. This means it's not $10, not even $5. It comes out to $2.19 a month, which split between the 7 friends I share it with ends up as 31 cents a person. That 31 cents gets me better prices for products that use browser cookies to make things more expensive for me, access to the full internet, and absolute anonymity. And if for any reason whatsoever you aren't completely satisfied, they have a 30-day money-back guarantee with no questions asked. I've left a link in the description for you, and don't forget to use code DFU at checkout for the extra 3 months completely free of charge. Now, back to the video. Damon Hill became the first frontrunner to pit for slick tyres, switching from the initial wet weather set. As Hill exited the pits on lap 27, the question lingered. Where was Jean Alesi? Could Damon maintain his lead? The answer was no. Alesi seized the opportunity, overtaking Hill and claiming the Grand Prix lead, with Hill in hot pursuit. With fresh tyres, Hill unleashed his speed, shattering the wet tyres' fastest lap by 10 seconds. Tailgating Alesi, he attempted various overtaking maneuvers. On lap 29, switching from inside to outside, Hill couldn't make it past. However, with superior acceleration heading up Beau Rivage, the Brit manoeuvred around the outside, reclaiming the lead. Lap 31 brought a whole new wave of chaos as Martin Brundle spun into the casino, colliding with the barriers and damaging his rear right wheel, jeopardizing his race chances. With 11 cars left and not even halfway through, the field faced further setbacks. Meanwhile, further down the field, Eddie Irvine and Olivier Panis engaged in a relentless battle. Irvine frustrated the Frenchman, who sought every possible opening to pass the scarlet red Ferrari. Panis maneuvered his Ligier Honda skillfully, but found no room to squeeze past the determined Irvine. On lap 35, frustration boiled within Panis, frustration that would soon reach a breaking point.
Points finishes, and that's a very different set right together. He locks his wheel. Olivier Panis locks his wheel as he tries to go through, and he's pushed Irvine off.
The Ligier and the Ferrari locked wheels, sending the Ligier straight into the Ferrari and forcing Irvine into the unforgiving wall. Hill, on the other hand, had seemingly been on a smooth course. Leading the majority of the race, he exuded control and ease. The elusive victory at the Monaco Grand Prix, a dream for the Brit, seemed within reach. He was eager to claim his first win at the Principality and become a part of sporting royalty. Yet, fate took a cruel turn.
Hill there continues to have this race totally under control. Clearly he wants to win every race, and smoke out of the back of the Williams. Damon Hill out of the Monaco Grand Prix.
The seemingly comfortable victory turned into a bitter defeat, marking Hill as the 11th retirement of the race. Jean Alesi inherited the lead, but his moment in the spotlight was short-lived. Suddenly, he too pulled into the pit, succumbing to a similar mechanical failure, adding to the incredibly long list of retirements. Now, it was the Frenchman Olivier Panis' turn to take the lead in his Ligier. It was a historic moment for Panis, the first time he found himself in a race-winning position. All he needed to do was navigate his Ligier through the twists of the track and hope that everything inside the car held together. With only 9 cars remaining in the race, on-track battles intensified. Luca Badoer and Jacques Villeneuve fought for 4th position. Approaching Mirabeau, Villeneuve sensed an opportunity down the inside and went for it.
Villeneuve comes up the inside, bangs into the 40 car of Luca Badoer. Badoer up in the air.
The immediate elimination of both cars left only 7 contenders in what had become one of the most tumultuous races in Formula One history. With 6 laps remaining, anything could still happen. As the final lap unfolded, Panis held a comfortable lead over Coulthard by nearly 2 seconds, with Irvine trailing in 3rd. Exiting the hairpin, the Ferrari lost control, spinning around, but miraculously avoiding the barriers. However, in a blindsided moment, Mika Salo crashed into the rear of the Ferrari, followed by fellow Finn, Mika Häkkinen. Despite the efforts of the marshals and a furious Häkkinen, all 3 were out, leaving only 4 cars for the final lap. For Panis, though, history awaited with open arms. It was close now, closer than ever, and soon enough, there it was. The checkered flag waved its welcome. The first Frenchman to take top step of the podium since 1930, Olivier Panis, anointed king at the crown jewel of Formula One. And just when it seemed nothing more could occur, on the approach to the finish line, Heinz-Harald Frentzen decided to pull into the pits, marking himself as a did not finish, as the top 3 had already taken the checkered flag. Only 3 drivers completed the 1996 Monaco Grand Prix, with Olivier Panis securing his only victory. And what a track to do it at! David Coulthard and Johnny Herbert rounded out the finishing order. The race had seen numerous self-induced crashes, jaw-dropping speed, and heartbreak. But the focus now firmly lay on the shock winner, the man who had taken opportunity after opportunity, got his head down and made the most of everything that came his way. This had been a once-in-a-lifetime race, and Olivier Panis had just etched his name into history. Imagine if something like this had never happened. What if we had just had a routine win, a routine race? It really makes you wonder about how things would be different if they panned out a different way. Quite like the time Jos Verstappen nearly burned alive.